Folks, this is a good time to make sure your cell phones are turned off. In the words of Ecclesiastes, a season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for dancing and a time for wailing, a time for birthing and a time for dying, a time for speaking and a time for silence, a time for seeking and a time for losing. We are in the midst of a time of losing. We gather this morning in recognition of a profound loss. I'm Rabbi Rick Brody, the Baskin Jewish Community Chaplain at Jewish Family Service of Colorado. It's an honor to be here today to support the family of Deborah Irene Zeid, to offer them comfort and to facilitate this communal fulfillment of multiple mitzvot, holy actions that are seen in Jewish life as among the most sacred ways that we can show up in life for those who have experienced the pain of death. We gather to speak fondly, with recollection, and with sanctity about Debbie's life. To pay tribute to the contributions she made, and to bestow a final act of kindness upon her with a proper burial that will occur after this ceremony. Debbie was born on May 10th, August 24th, 1950, in Detroit. She was the older of two children born to the Fine family. Her brother Mark was born 6 years later. Her parents were Isidore and Helen Fine. Her Hebrew name was Deborah bat Yitzchak HaKohen v'Helen. Debbie spent her entire childhood living in the same home with her parents, and for several of those years with her grandparents, her mother's parents. Theirs was a tight-knit family. It was one in which learning was celebrated. Debbie was a voracious reader her entire life. And Mark shared his memories of his older sister, the image of her lying on a couch with a book, deeply engaged and completely ignoring his wishes for her to play with him. But then she did teach him to read before he entered kindergarten. By that time, she knew in the depths of her heart that she was born to be a teacher. She loved to learn. She loved to share her skills and her wisdom with others, to empower others. She was a born teacher. She graduated from Thomas J. Cooley High School in Detroit in 1968. A little bit before that time, through BBYO, AZA, BBG, at an Oneg Shabbat, she met her future husband, Harry. There was a little bit of time of uncertainty after that initial meeting, in which it later became clear that there was mutual attraction. And a neighbor of Harry's, who was in Debbie's BBG chapter, a few months later, approached him and said, Debbie would like to go out with you. Their first date was Dr. Zhivago. It was a little bit after that Harry graduated from high school, and he was a year ahead. And he went off to Michigan State. After Debbie graduated, she attended one semester at Oakland University. But after that one semester, her heart had pulled her to Michigan State. And from that point forward, after she enrolled, the romance that she and Harry had begun blossomed exponentially. Their college years were formative. They were part of a tight-knit group of friends, other couples. They engaged in political activism. It was the late 1960s. They took 2 trips to Washington, D.C. to protest the war in Vietnam. And they quickly became soulmates. They both went on to pursue master's degrees at Michigan State. And after Debbie had received her master's in education for mathematics, after earlier receiving a bachelor's in education for remedial reading, and Harry had obtained an MBA, the 2 got married, and a couple of days later, got in the car and made their trip to Colorado, where they lived for the rest of their lives together. Debbie taught in the Aurora School District, first teaching reading to underprivileged elementary school children. And after a year doing that, moved over in the district to one of the middle schools where she taught 7th grade math for the majority of the rest of her career. The 2 bought a house in Englewood. It was very important to Debbie to find a place that would ensure the best education for her future children. And so she sought out the Cherry Creek School District, and their house was part of a little pocket of Englewood that was districted for Cherry Creek, where ultimately Debbie and Harry's 2 children received stellar education as part of a beautiful childhood that they enjoyed in their family. Debbie and Harry had a son named Isaac, their firstborn, born in April of 1975. He was born premature. There were many health complications, and it was a very difficult year. He spent several months at Children's Hospital, and he died in March of 1976. This loss was profound for Debbie and Harry. But Debbie was a fighter. She embodied perseverance. She carried her pain and also knew that to live meant to move forward. And only 6 months later, their son Jeremy was born. Debbie was so devoted to both parenting and teaching that the time off that she took for each newborn was minimal. And she made her way back to the classroom as quickly as she could. Their daughter, Sarah, was born 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days after older brother Jeremy in December of 1979. Debbie spent the next couple of decades as a devoted parent, as an organizer of the home, continuing to be a loving mother and wife, a friend to many, organizing book clubs and being very involved in supporting her children's activities, including lots and lots of swim practices and swim meets, competitions all over the country. She served as a stroke judge at many of those meets. She was a schlepper of her children, early morning throughout the day, taking them to Hebrew tutoring and bar and bat mitzvah preparation at Temple Sinai, where each child had their rite of passage into Jewish adulthood as the family maintained its strong connection to their Jewish identity and to Jewish life. Harry and Debbie enjoyed many years of travel, of being connoisseurs of art and music. We'll share a little bit more about some of those details a little later. Debbie contracted this horrible, rare disease, systemic mastocytosis. And the last several years were tough. Harry was there by her side, unfailingly, always the devoted partner. Debbie died August 24th. No, sorry. May 10th, 2022. Just 2 days ago. She is survived by her beloved husband, her partner, her soulmate, Harry Zeid. Her son, Jeremy Zeid, Jeremy's wife, Kristen, and their two sons, Debbie's grandsons, Isaac Zeid and Eli Zeid. Her daughter, Sarah Marshall, her husband, Bradley Marshall, and their sons, Debbie's other two grandsons, Owen Marshall and Sam Marshall. She's also survived by her younger brother, Mark Fine. We also note among those gathered here today, loving, extended family members who have been particularly supportive. Harry's brothers and sister-in-law, Mike and Michelle Zeid and Sandy Zeid. Harry's cousins, Eric Wolf and Alan Wolf and Stuart Schulman. We note Debbie's cousins who aren't able to be present today, but who are watching on the live stream, among many others, as well as close friends of Harry and Debbie and the family from all walks of life, of the rich, diverse life that Debbie lived, friends she accumulated along the way as a result of her naturally friendly, welcoming, engaging demeanor. Friends including people she taught with, traveled with, and participated in book club with. All of you who fit into any of those categories or any others, you're here today either because of your personal relationship with Debbie or with a member of the family, to support the mourners. All of us gathered today are here engaging together in a sacred act. The family is deeply grateful for all of you being here as we support Debbie's mourners, fulfilling the sacred act of kavod hamet, honoring of the deceased, which we'll continue to fulfill by sharing other recollections about Debbie's life, her joys, her passions, her virtues and character, her accomplishments, her loving devotion to her family, and for expressing gratitude for her presence on this earth, for this too short time that she graced it. We do so with appreciation for the memories that Debbie crafted for all of us, with relief, knowing that she died peacefully at Porter Hospice, where she received loving palliative care following months and years of the best medical care available throughout the Denver area from so many dedicated professionals who did their best and with whom Debbie connected because of her incomparable demeanor, even as she suffered. But we know now that she is free of suffering. And yet sadness still is prominent. Sadness that her journey among the living and her ability to fashion new memories in the present and future has come to its end. Yet we move into this process of sacred recollection, of closure through burial, and into the bereavement process for her mourners with the absolute knowledge that Debbie's legacy will endure in so many ways, and that her memory will be a blessing. The time of mourning that begins today is a complicated time, filled with many emotions and memories, bitter feelings, and sweet recollections. We continue our service with the recitation of psalms and prayers, thus linking Debbie's life with the 3,000-year-old tradition of the people Israel and the eternity of God. Im chasid titchasad, im gewalt hamim titamam, im navar titparah, ve'im ikesh titpatam. With the loyal, you deal loyally. With the blameless, blamelessly. With the pure, you act purely. And with the perverse, you are wily. It is you who deliver lowly folk, but haughty eyes you humble. It is you who light my lamp. Adonai, my God, lights up my darkness. With you, I can rush a barrier. With my God, I can scale a wall. The way of God is perfect. The word of Adonai is pure. God is a shield to all who seek refuge. From Psalm 18. Ha'el tamim darko, imrat Adonai tzrufa, magenhu lechol hachosim bo. The 23rd Psalm, a Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar. Bihinot deshe yarbitseni, al mei menuchot yenahaleni. Nafshi yeshovev, nafshi yeshovev, yancheni v'maglei tzedek l'man shemo. Gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan, ta'aroch lefanai shulchan, ta'aroch lefanai shulchan, neged sorerai. Dishanta vashemen roshi, dishanta vashemen roshi, dishanta vashemen roshi. Kosi revaya, ach tov v'chesed, yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti beveit Adonai, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. ידדי די די די, ידדי די די די, ידדי די 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 די, ידדי, ידדי די די, ידדי די די די, ידדי די די די. Debbie and Harry had a song. It was a song that spoke to them through its beautiful melody and moving lyrics. It represented a deeper song, a song that can't be put into words, the song of life itself, of the life that they built with each other. Any words, be they set as lyrics to a song or as a eulogy, or any other effort of the limited human mind and ability to capture the essence of a thing or of a soul. Any effort only points at that deeper truth that is felt in a way that goes beyond words, that reverberates in the heart. Debbie's mourners felt that they would not be able to speak today publicly. That finding the words would be too hard at this time in a public fashion. And so sometimes a melody and the lyrics that go with it capture more than what anyone can say about a specific memory or a fact or a feeling. I'll try in this eulogy to capture with some of my words what I've learned about Debbie and the beautiful life she lived and the indelible impact that she made on so many throughout her life. The love that she experienced. And as Harry said yesterday, in referring to the love that she gave more than she took. So I'll try to give, but I'm very grateful that Harry knew and shared and decided to emphasize their song. It'll carry us through. The song is Songbird, written by Christine McVie from the band Fleetwood Mac and performed by Fleetwood Mac back on their mid-1970s groundbreaking album, Rumors. For you, there'll be no more crying. For you, the sun will be shining. And I feel that when I'm with you, it's all right. I know it's right. To you, I'll give the world. To you, I'll never be cold. Because I feel that when I'm with you, it's all right. I know it's right. And the songbirds are singing like they know the score. And I love you, I love you, I love you, like never before. And I wish you all the love in the world. But most of all, I wish it from myself. And the songbirds keep singing like they know the score. And I love you, I love you, I love you, like never before. Like never before. Like never before. Every time I've heard this song or thought about its lyrics, I wondered, what's the score? Like they know the score? Who's keeping score? That's not what love is about. What did she mean? Like they know the score. And then it occurred to me, and I'll be 100% transparent with you. It occurred to me just now as I was reading it. So this is just coming straight from the heart here. I was thinking about the wrong meaning of the word. She's talking about the musical accompaniment of a story, like the score to a film. The songbirds are singing the melody that accompanies these two lovers, because there is an intuitive connection between these birds, these natural singers who chirp their own melody, but somehow they have tapped in to the score of our love story, of the story of our lives. It was as if they had been commissioned to read the screenplay, to view the footage, to watch the story, and produce the score. They're singing like they know the score. And the essence of the story that the score evokes is love. Pure, unadulterated love. And that is the essence of Debbie's life. Her love for Harry, their love, her love for her children, her grandchildren, her love of life itself. Harry and Debbie did so much, traveled to so many places throughout Europe, numerous visits to Hawaii, sometime in Mexico, in the Caribbean, many summers in Newport Beach. They traveled everywhere that they went, particularly in Europe. They made a point to get a pass at the museum to see the artwork celebrated in that locale. They sought out the synagogues of the cities of Europe to enjoy the architecture and the Jewish culture that reverberated in those houses of worship. They loved art. They always brought back some form of art from all their travels. And they were deeply embedded into the love of nature that is so typical here in this beautiful state of Colorado. Skiing, camping, being connected to nature. Just like those birds who know the score. Debbie knew the score. She lived it. And throughout all of their joys, and even through the harder times, Debbie and Harry both knew that when they were with each other, it's all right. It was all right. I had the deep blessing to witness that sacred bond when I visited Debbie in hospice last Friday. Harry and Jeremy and Sarah were all there. We said prayers and songs devoted to the idea of closure and of peace. And Debbie was in and out of visible awareness. We all knew that there was a deeper awareness, whether she was asleep or awake. We knew she was receiving the gift of peace for her transition out of this life. And there were some moments when her eyes opened and she was moving around, working through some discomfort. And Harry was right there, giving her kisses, telling her that he loves her and that it's all right. That it's all right. The song begins saying, "For you, there'll be no more crying." Not yet. Probably not ever. There will be crying. Not the crying of absolute despair, not the crying of helplessness or hopelessness, because Debbie gave the world and her loved ones so much help and hope and love. The crying will be simply from missing her and abundant tears of joy and gratitude for how much she gave. And the sun will continue to shine. Because Debbie taught perseverance. She modeled it. She modeled commitment. Her children shared yesterday with me about how her life itself was a lesson in how to live. Debbie knew the score. She was lacking in musical tonal ability in a technical sense, but on a spiritual level, music that was the expression of a life lived with beauty and grandeur. That music was at perfect pitch. Debbie gave the world to those she loved. She was never cold. Everything I've learned about Debbie Zeid is that she embodied warmth, and that everyone she met and touched came away from having known her for the better. So in many ways, we can hear this song and hear it as a blessing from Debbie about how she lived. And we can also hear it as our ode to her. And I love you, I love you, I love you like never before. Everybody who was touched by Debbie was filled with love for her. And like never before, it grows and it will continue to grow even without Debbie's continuation in the world of the living as a participant in it, because even to say that is not entirely true. She will continue to participate through her legacy, through her lessons, through her love in this world. And love for her will continue to expand, and it will always be true to say, for those who have loved Debbie and will love Debbie, that their love for her is like never before. And each one who says farewell to you, Debbie, wishes you all the love in the world that you have taken as a gift into eternity. And each one who wishes you love wishes it from themselves because of the specific relationship. Husband, brother, son, daughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, grandson, friend, colleague. Each one who loves you wishes you all the love in the world from themselves. And the songbirds keep singing like they know the score. They do. And we love you, Debbie. We love you. We love you. Like never before. Like never before. Like never before. We continue now with the El Malay Rachamim prayer, which fittingly uses the imagery of the wings of the divine presence, the Shekhinah, under which we pray that God will grant to Debbie's soul infinite rest through divine compassion. It is as if divinity itself, God's manifestation in this world and in the realm of eternity, is itself a winged creature, a bird that grants shelter and that certainly knows the score. May that score, that music, continue to play in granting Debbie, in granting her soul perfect peace. We rise. El male rachamim, shochen bamromim, hamtze menucha nechona, tachat kanfei hashechina, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר רקיע מזהירים, את נשמת דבורה בת יצחק הכהן והלן, שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן, תהא מנוחתה. אנא בעל הרחמים, הסתיריה בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן. El male rachamim, exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest underneath the wings of your sheltering presence, among the holy and pure, to the soul of Deborah Irene Zeid, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that Debbie find perfect peace in the shelter of your wings. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. Ribono shel olam, Master of the universe, creator of heaven and earth, of man, of woman, be gracious to your children who mourn. May the light of your divine presence dispel the gloom of absence so keenly felt at this sad time. Bless your children, O God, with your compassion. Empower them with your love. Touch them with the fullness of your heart, that they may be granted inner peace. Was it not you who said, "Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will sustain you with my power. As we remember the blessings in Debbie's life, we ask you, Eternal One, to remember your promise to us. And let us say, Amen. We're now going to remain seated to listen as a closing element to this ceremony, to that beautiful songbird that speaks so deeply and powerfully to the love between Harry and Debbie, to the love that Debbie embodied throughout her life and that she shared with all who knew her, and that speaks to the love we have for her. After the song has been played, we will receive instructions from the staff of Feldman Mortuary for how to proceed.
For you, there'll be no more crying. For you, the sun will be shining, and I feel that when I'm with you, it's alright. I know it's right. To you, I'll give the world. To you, I'll never be cold. 'Cause I feel that when I'm with you, it's alright. I know it's right. And the songbirds are singing like they know the score. And I love you, I love you, I love you like never before. And I wish you all the love in the world. But most of all, I wish it from myself. And the songbirds keep singing like they know the score. And I love you, I love you, I love you like never before. Like never before. Like never before.
Folks, this concludes our service here in our chapel. At the family's request, interment will be private. In a second, we're going to ask the family back into the family room where you'll be given a chance to give a condolence before you leave. Then we'll escort the casket out. If I can have the pallbearers meet us back at the double doors there, we'll bring the casket to you. Remain in your places as we do this. And if you're parked in the front row of the parking lot, I'll ask you to return to your cars sooner rather than later. A car broke down in our driveway, believe it or not. So we dropped the chains so you can exit and let everybody else out. Maggie?